So continuing on this idea that we were talking about before, about how mitzvahs have to be your ASIC, mitzvahs have to be not have to be our business, something that we live for, something that we're totally involved with. It's a fascinating medrash. I'm going to bring in something, and you can wonder, it's the wrong holiday, Garfinkel. What's he doing? I'll bring it in. Give me a chance. It says that Esther wanted to know, and she asked the Hasach to ask Mordechai, Ladas Mazer ve'al Mazer, to ask, what's this? What does that mean? What was Esther asking Mordechai? Medrash tells us that Esther wanted to know. It's a terrible thing. This Gezerah, this decree that somebody wanted to wipe out the entire Jewish people. We've never had this before. This never happened before. Why is it? What do we do wrong that we have this punishment, that we have a Gezerah, that there's a decree placed upon us that the entire Jewish people are going to be destroyed? What do we do wrong? So the Medrash is playing with the words, Mazer ve'al Mazer. Shema kofa Yisrael b'zeh kelim v'anveyu. Where do you find Zeh in the Torah? Says Esther to Mordechai, which one is it? Is it that they didn't follow the mitzvah of Zeh kelim v'anveyu? This is my God, and I'll glorify him, which is in reference to Hidur mitzvah, doing mitzvahs in the proper way. V'anveyu, and I will glorify him, has no the follow the mitzvahs, that I will glorify him in the proper mitzvahs. We're going to explain this a little bit in depth in a minute. Maybe they didn't follow the commandments and the Ten Commandments and the tablets that also have the word zeh, because it says mizeh hem tzur. That is the end of the medrash. So Esther wanted to know which one was the cause of the gezerah. Okay, what the answer is not fun. It's not for now. Maybe a Purim Shir we'll discuss that. So it says that Mordechai Shapiro. What's going on over here? I understand that she had a chashash, she had a concern that maybe the Jewish people transgressed what it says in the Ten Commandments. Because we're talking about averos chamuras, very, very strict averos, that to transgress them or to not perform them could be a reason why we would have this great decree placed upon us. Okay? Adultery, murder, not honoring, respecting parents, Shabbos, all these tenets of our religion are in the Ten Commandments. That I understand. But what was her issue? That maybe it wasn't the Ten Commandments, maybe it was the lack of performing Zeh kelim v'anveyu. This is my God, and I'll glorify him. Which the Gemara tells us in Shabbos, is, like I said before, the idea of doing mitzvahs behidur, doing mitzvahs in a proper way, to make a nice sukkah, to make a nice lulav, to make a nice show for Ezra. Says Mordechai Shapiro, what's she talking about? Why would the lack of performing a mitzvah in its proper way, hidur mitzvah, be so chomer, be so strict, that would be the reason that why we would have such a gezerah, such a terrible decree to wipe out the entire Jewish people? And to parallel that would be in the same level as the lack of following the Ten Commandments. Seems very strange that on the scale that you would put at the same level, lack of following the Ten Commandments and lack of doing a mitzvah behiduro, lack of doing a mitzvah in this proper way, not doing it, to beautify the mitzvah. It doesn't seem to make any sense to equate these two ideas. Now, by the way, before we say Mordechai Shapiro's teretz, she has a beautiful teretz, in general, what you could say, just to say pshat in the Medrash, that when Esther says that kelim v'anveyu, maybe she didn't mean the first part of the Gemara, the way most people know in this Medrash, that kelim v'anveyu, that it's a reference to doing mitzvahs behiduro, beautifying the mitzvah. The Gemara says afterwards another pshat in the words that kelim v'anveyu. V'anveyu, ani v'hu, he and I. That there's a mitzvah to follow in the ways of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. There's a mitzvah to follow in the ways of God. Just like God is compassionate, God is slow to anger, there's also a mitzvah for us to be compassionate, to have mercy, and to be slow to anger. So according to this, it's a beautiful pshat in the Medrash, if I must say so myself. Maybe what Esther was saying, Mordechai, is which one? Was it the lack of following the Ten Commandments, meaning following laws between man and God, or maybe it was not following the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not following the ways of God, lack of midos, lack of proper character traits, Bein Olam L'Chavero, not following the mitzvahs between man and his fellow man. Maybe that's what Esther asked Mordechai. Meaning in her mind, they're equal. The mitzvahs of Bein Olam L'Chavero, treating man properly, is just as important as the Ten Commandments. Okay, that could be the pshat in the Medrash. And like I said, if I must say so, I think it would be a very nice pshat on the Medrash. You see that Esther is equating the mitzvahs between man and his fellow man, and also the mitzvahs Bein Olam L'Makom, which is primarily in the Ten Commandments, mitzvahs between man and God. You see that the Torah, the Medrash, equates both of them. To the extent that Esther didn't know, she asked Mordechai, which one is it? Okay. Mordechai Shapiro says a beautiful pshat to explain the Medrash, not the way I just said, another way that I was talking about Hiddur Mitzvah Mamish, the idea of beautifying the mitzvahs. And that's as follows. It's not the per se, the lack of doing the mitzvah behidura, the lack of having a beautiful esrog, the lack of having a beautiful sukkah. That's not what it means. But that is the way a person does mitzvahs and the way a person shows his appreciation and the way he values a mitzvah, that trickles down to the next generation. Children see the way their parents are makshav, the way they value certain things. If the mother is always cleaning the house and is very busy making sure the house is always clean and nice, that value of having a nice house is transferred to the children. The trickle down theory. If the father shows his importance to dressing nicely, then that idea is impressed upon the children. The children end up dressing nicely. Any mitzvah that you do, or any hanhaga, any way you behave, and the way you accustom yourself, that idea is transferred over to the next generation. So by not doing mitzvahs in its proper way, not being a hadir mitzvah, not showing the chashivas for the mitzvah, that's not what it is per se. The lack of having a beautiful esrog, that the issue is. What it means is that the lack of showing the chashivas, the lack of showing the importance for a mitzvah, and prioritizing spending money on a mitzvah, but spending money on vacations and going to Hawaii and doing all these, making $50,000 by mitzvah. If those things are important and mitzvah performance are in the proper way, that's not as important. That idea is carried to the next generation. And then a person, the son will say, if serving God is not so important, I don't have to do it altogether. Why do it half-baked? My father did it half-baked. You know what? I'm not doing it altogether. But if you give over the enthusiasm you have for mitzvahs, the geschmack that you have for mitzvahs, this ties into the first pshat. If it's your Asik, that's exactly what the Yevanim wanted to get rid of. But no, we were victorious over the Yevanim. And mitzvahs and Torah becomes our Asik. It becomes something that we have to do. And not just that we have to do it, we enjoy doing it. It's something which we do with the geschmack. It's not a Torah, it's not bird stuff, it's something that we enjoy doing it. We do it happily. That idea is transferred over to the next generation, and then the rest of the people end up doing mitzvahs. I don't know if it's only the next generation. You could even say it's even for the people themselves, for that generation itself. If the leaders don't give over that enthusiasm, then the rest of the people don't do it. If the parents don't do it, not only the next generation, even that generation, the children themselves won't follow the Torah and the mitzvahs. So even though a person thinks Hiddur Mitzvah is not so important, no, but it really is. It really is a tremendous idea that the Slavas, the enthusiasm and the geschmack that you do a mitzvah with, that is carried over to the rest of your people. So maybe that's what it means. That when Esther said she wasn't sure which one was it that was the cause of the gezerah being placed upon the Jewish people, which one was it? Was it the Ten Commandments, or was it lack of Hiddur Mitzvah? Mordechai Shapiro wants to say, it's not literally the lack of doing mitzvahs in its proper way. What it means is this idea. You could buy a beautiful lulav and esrog, but if the kid doesn't see how much money you spent on it, the kid doesn't see how much you value it and how much you prioritize mitzvahs, that won't go down to the next generation. So that's the idea. So Esther was saying, which one was it? Was it the Ten Commandments, or was it the fact that the mitzvahs weren't done with such a geschmack, with such enthusiasm, that it was affecting the performance of the rest of the people during the days of Haman? So that's a beautiful lesson. That ties into the first year before, and that's what the Evandim wanted to nullify, was the isaskos, not just doing mitzvahs and studying Torah, but they wanted to get rid of this idea, the enthusiasm and the zest and the zeal that we do in mitzvahs. We were victorious over them, and we realized that chashivas, the importance of not just doing mitzvahs and studying Torah, but doing it with a real geschmack, with a real zest, and with a real enthusiasm.